Hi everyone, today I will be taking you through how to use the OFX Payments API to create a payment. Just a note before we get started, I'll be using Postman to make the API calls. It's a super easy software that you can download online. I'm also going to be referring you to the documentation we have on developer.ofx.com under documentation and getting started, just to show you how easy it is. Great. So the first step is to register and create an application. For the benefit of this video, I already have registered. So going to my dashboard, you'll see that I've also created an app that's approved. But to create a new app, just hit Create New, name your app. In this case, I'm going to call it Cookie Monster, sticking with my Sesame Street theme. And I'll add the callback URL. So that is just the URL that OFX will send callback details to for the asynchronous calls you're about to make. So from there, you create the app and it will come up as a pending state. And once it does get approved, you'll have the ID and the secret that you'll need to get your access token, which you can see in my approved state. So consumer key and consumer secret is what you'll need. So copying the consumer key and going back to documentation so we can launch Postman, we'll be able to get started. So again, if you don't have Postman, now's the time to do so. It's super easy to use and it really only took me about 2 minutes to get started on it. Great, so under Authentication, what we're going to do is get our access code using the ID and secret. So under Body, what we're going to do is we're going to replace the ID with what we had in our app. And the same thing with the secret here. And what that'll do is it'll generate an access token that we'll be able to use to create all our API calls. So there you go, you can see the access tokens come up for me really easily. Also important to note that the access token does expire. So you can see down here it expires in 3,599 seconds, which really just translates to just under an hour. Great, so let's go ahead and create our quote. So under Body, you can see that we are transferring 1,100 US to Aussie dollars. And in this case, the sell amount is what is the currency that OFX sells to the customer, and the buy currency is what OFX buys from the customer. So adding our access token here, we're going to get our quote ID, and we're going to be able to have a look at what the rate is. So I'm just going to copy my rate, and I'm going to pop into Get, and I'm going to post another API call using the ID that I just received and the access token that I've already generated. And you're going to be able to see the details come up in just a sec. Cool, so posting this API call, and there we have it. We have our conversion rate. So at a rate of 0.7433, our customer is going to purchase US with $1,479.89 Aussie. So next step is to create the beneficiary. So a beneficiary is essentially the person that receives the transfer. And you can see here in the body, you've got all of the details that would normally be associated with a beneficiary. So the bank details, the SWIFT codes, the reason for the payment, everything you'd normally find in something like this. So using our access token again, we are going to be able to post this call. And if we hit send, we're going to have our beneficiary ID. So now that we have the beneficiary ID and the quote ID, we're going to be able to post a deal, a spot deal. So if we go into the body here, we can see that we need a quote ID, and down below, we're going to also see a beneficiary ID. So along with the access token, we're gonna create a spot deal. So I'll go ahead and grab the access token again and pop it in here. And then if we go into body and add our quote ID first, and just keep in mind this is in JSON format, so we do need to remember our quote marks so that it doesn't error out for us. Great. Now that we have our beneficiary ID, we can hit send, and what we're going to get back is a process ID. So because this is a asynchronous long-running process, you're not necessarily going to get the deal ID straight away, but you are going to be able to check on the status of the order. So under the same area as spot deal, you'll find process result, and if you just pop in the ID that you had and then the access token again, you're going to be able to get the status of the order. So you're not always going to get a successful message, but when it does complete, when the process is complete, you will get the ID that you'll see in just a sec. And there we have a successful deal. So you've just created your first payment through the OFX Payments API. So we look forward to having you join our developer community, and don't forget, you can head to developer.ofx.com/support, and we're here to help at any time. See you guys soon.